Whether you make out with him or don't make out with him, you let him cup a feel, you don't let him cup a feel, you dry hump, you don't dry hump, you give oral X, you don't give oral X, you do a threesome, you don't do a threesome. Either way, someone will label you as a slut. We're diving into a topic that affects teenage girls around the world: how society judges them based on the actual choices they made, didn't make, or the choices people think they made based on false rumors, and the long lasting impact this has during their most formative years. Being a teenage girl is hard enough, balancing school, friendships, and figuring out who you are. But society makes it even harder when it imposes harsh labels on young women for how they express their sexuality. Whether they're active, not active, somewhere in between, asexual, there's no winning. Teenage girls often face the harsh reality of society's double standard early on. This shame often starts before they've even had the chance to define their own boundaries or explore their identities. Boys are praised for being quote unquote players, but girls are labeled sluts for the same behavior. And if they don't engage in any sexual activity, they're prudes, teases, or simply uptight. These labels don't just hurt, they shape how girls see themselves and interact with the world. This double standard has persisted for centuries, shaping how women are judged and treated. The impact of these labels during adolescence, when self esteem and identity are still forming, can be truly devastating. These labels can come as a literal shock because the boys in their school who partake in the same behavior aren't being publicly shamed. Girls labeled as sluts or prudes often experience anxiety, depression, and social isolation. No matter how much or how little a woman chooses to engage in sexual activity, the label of promiscuous still looms over her. This looming fear sometimes even makes young girls slash women to not engage in any sexual activity till they're out of high school slash secondary school, for fear of being found out and publicly shamed. It's also pretty insane that young men are sometimes frustrated with their girlfriend for not being intimate with them when they live in a world where a girl kissing a boy can result in a War of Babylon smear campaign. The stress of navigating these judgments can impact academic performance. Many girls report withdrawing from extracurricular activities to avoid being judged even more. Social media amplifies these issues. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat can be breeding grounds for slut shaming and judgment. Something as simple as posting a picture in a swimsuit can spark cruel comments. An example is Cassie. Cassie was labeled a slut by almost all of the guys in her school, but all the guys in her school who saw her as a slut still desired her and would give away their left nut to be with her. Throughout the series, Cassie's sexual history is a topic of gossip among her peers. According to Rue's narrating, every time Cassie ends a relationship, her exes always share videos and photos of her in a sexual nature. Then she gets publicly shamed. Then she starts a new relationship. Then her new boyfriend convinces her to make explicit content of herself. Then, when the relationship ends, her ex shares an explicit video or photo of her. In season 1, these videos lead to cruel comments and teasing, and a lot of the boys in her school making assumptions that she's always DTF or to perform other sexual acts. Her peers label her as nothing but an object to fulfill men's desires, disregarding her emotional struggles with the fact that all her exes clearly betrayed her trust and decided to shame her for actions they begged her to perform. Cassie's perceived sexual openness is often weaponized against her, particularly in scenes where people dismiss her feelings because of her romantic decisions in the past. Teenage girls who are labeled may find themselves ostracized by both male and female peers, leaving them without critical social support. In Netflix's X Education, Mave Wiley is labeled as promiscuous by her peers due to her perceived actual activities, even though nearly all of it is based on rumors rather than reality. Mave is called derogatory names like biter and is ostracized by many students at Mordale High. Find out why Mave is called biter. She tells Otis, "Do you know how long I've been called biter? 4 years. People I've never met call me biter to my face. Do you know how it started? Simon tried to kiss me at Claire Tyler's 14th birthday. I said no, so he told everyone I'd perform oral X on him and bit in his peen. And that was it. This kind of thing sticks, and it hurts, and no one deserves to be shamed." This reputation based on false rumors unfairly follows her. Despite her intelligence, independence, and the fact that much of the gossip about her is exaggerated or false, Maeve is judged harshly for her perceived sexual activities. Her male peers like Jackson or Otis are not subjected to the same level of scrutiny for their actions, reflecting the double standards surrounding gender and sexuality. Maeve is even publicly shamed when a rumor spreads that she terminated her teen pregnancy. While she did do that, it was her right to do so, and the gossip was cruel and dismissive of her personal feelings, her decision, and her circumstances. Okay, this is absolutely ridiculous because if you watch X Education, you know that most of the people in the school are having X. If Maeve had become a teen mom, she would have still been made fun of. Also, even grown adult women are shamed for terminating their pregnancies. They're shamed by strangers, people they know, and even their own partners. And if you personally do this, please jump off a bridge because the earth is already overpopulated. If you cannot tell by now, I am very, very, very pro-choice, and if you don't like it, that's fine. You're not invited to the cookout because all my friends are also very pro-choice. Anyway, Maeve's resilience in the face of bullying and all the other BS is one of these show's key messages about breaking down harmful stereotypes. In Working Moms, Alice, Anne's daughter, was called fast and loose. Alice becomes the subject of rumors at school after engaging in typical teenage behavior. Alice kisses a boy, and while she is kissing the boy, the young man creams his pants because of hormones and other stuff, I guess. Because that boy was so embarrassed from, I feel so uncomfortable saying this, creaming his pants, he told all his friends that she kissed several boys. When it's rumored that Alice kissed multiple boys, her peers label her with derogatory terms, amplifying the situation beyond what actually happened. Even though kissing is harmless and typical for a teenager exploring relationships. While Alice's male peers face little to no scrutiny for similar behavior, she is judged harshly, reflecting the societal tendency to shame girls while excusing or celebrating boys for the same. The judgment and name-calling deeply affect her self-esteem, leaving her confused and hurt by the double standards placed on girls. It's absolutely crazy because the ages of the characters that I mentioned, the ages of these three girls, fall between 13 and 16. And two of these characters were labeled promiscuous because of one singular event that occurred in their lives. They were both deemed guilty of promiscuous behavior by the court of their peers on the basis of false rumors because two little boys got their little baby fifis hurt. The Madonna Hor Complex is a psychological concept first identified by Sigmund Freud. It describes a dichotomy in how some individuals, often men, perceive women, splitting them into two categories. The Madonna, she is the idealized, virtuous, and pure woman. These women are to become the respectable mothers in our society. Women in this category are viewed as nurturing, sacred, respectable, and are not to be sexualized. The whore is the actually desirable, immoral, impure woman. She is not worthy of respect beyond physical gratification. She is only supposed to be the mistress, to be used for pleasure, and if she ever desires to be a wife, she should never be able to attain it. This binary perception prevents people, men, from reconciling feelings of love and respect with actual attraction toward the same person. In their minds, these two puzzle pieces just can't be put together. Think of when there's a new popular woman on TikTok that a lot of hetero men are lusting after. They watch her videos, they leave likes and comments. But if their girlfriend or wife felt inspired by her content and wanted to do something similar, their boyfriends slash husbands would throw a fit because it is okay for that woman to be confident in showing that she is desirable and actual, not because she is freeing herself from society's restrictions that tells women that it is shameful to be desirable and act upon their actual desires. No, 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 no. It's because that woman is a whore, and her sole purpose is to satisfy men. But you as my wife, you are a Madonna. You are above expressing desirability. You are a good, pure woman. In fact, thou shan't have any sexual prowess. An excellent example, again from a TV show because I don't know anybody's business in real life. In Desperate Housewives, Brie Vanderkamp, the only trad wife I would die for. She is beautiful, incredibly intelligent, she gardens, she knows how to elegantly throw shade, she's a master in the kitchen, and this scene... Anyway, enough of me kissing her ass. In season 1, Brie tries to initiate intimacy with her husband Rex, as they had not been intimate with each other in a long time. She continues to be vocal about her desires to be intimate with her husband.
I will go there with you, you just have to say it out loud. What do you want? What do you need?
So you sound like a whore.
No, I don't. I sound like a woman whose husband won't touch her.
And I absolutely love Brie's comeback to the disrespectful nonsense Rex says. Spoiler alert, we find out later that Rex was actually having an affair with a dominatrix who lived in their neighborhood, because Rex had a BDSM kink. In fact, several of the men in the neighborhood were cheating on their wives with that same dominatrix because 1, they were all ashamed of their kink, and 2, they, like Rex, thought that their wives were pure virtuous women who were above engaging in such actual behavior. This is a very good example that shows how the Madonna Hor Complex is a philosophy that people start to internalize from a young age well into adulthood. A lot of men struggle with simultaneously seeing their women partners as actual beings and individuals worthy of respect. Recognizing women as multidimensional individuals capable of both respectability and actual agency is key. Young women should be respected for who they are, not judged for their choices. Whether they choose to be active, wait, or simply haven't figured it out yet, their actual choices are their own, no one else's. Beyond the stress society's views of women's sexuality takes on women, this double standard reinforces harmful norms. It perpetuates slut-shaming, restricts women's autonomy, and even influences laws, policies, and people's understanding around sex education and consent. You should clock the BS when you see it, both online and in person, because it's not just about the labels themselves, it's about dismantling the culture that creates them. I will not tell you to like, subscribe, or comment. You will do so if you want to, but if the spirit moves you, or if my witchcraft just happens to work, I'm glad you stayed and I hope to see you again. Bye!